All right, guys, you got Ryan Cavendish here over at Stealth. We're going to go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek into QBack 2.0. We're hoping to have this launched mid-November, so this will be a good time for you guys to get a little bit of excitement behind it, get an idea about what's going on before we start getting these back shipped out and into the marketplace. So we'll get going here. We're going to go through a little bit of an intro on it, kind of give you a discussion about what it is, go through each of the little parts and pieces and what makes it different than QBack 1, and then talk about the pricing a little bit as well. So getting into it, QBack 2, same as QBack original, is a rehab style back that's compatible specifically with the True Comfort, the True Balance seating systems. But this time around, it's a complete redesign from original QBack. Almost nothing has been left unchanged. So it's still going to mount directly to the TB3 or TB4 center spine. You get zero loss of seat depth. There's still a significant weight reduction compared to the True Comfort backrest. And cool core is now going to be your standard on your contact surfaces. So QBack 2 has also already been gone through crash testing here in the States. So in the US, WC20 is one of the crash test standards, and it has been through that. So it is transport approved as well. So QBack 2 is going to be offered in both AL and AFT versions. So AL is going to have some scapular relief, where AFT is just literally flat on top. So aluminum and aluminum flat top. You're going to have 4 contours, 4 depths in both AL and AFT series. So you're going to have anywhere from 2.5 inches of contour on your active. You're going to have your deep that's 4 inches, but a different set of 4-inch deep on your 4-inch lateral version, and then a 6-inch deep as well. And we'll get into what the differences of all those are here in a few minutes. You're going to have multiple heights in each series as well. So aluminum, you're going to have 5 standard heights, and then aluminum flat top, you're going to have 4 standard heights. And Martin, this is just going to be mounted directly to that center spine. This version, we didn't necessarily design to go onto the back canes, but I think it could be possible. You do have hardware tracks to mount your lateral wings in there, so I think we could probably get some hardware, some ADI hardware mounted in there as well, but we haven't tried that at all yet. The weight capacity, depending on your width of backrest, is anywhere from 175 up to 500 pounds. So weight capacity on these is pretty good this time around, and we are going to sell internationally. So we have domestic and international availability. Again, launch dates are mid-November. We had a date set, but basically what we ended up having to do is wait slightly longer. We were hoping to be launching earlier this month, but we are waiting on a couple final pieces to fall into place, basically to build some inventory, get order screens set up, and that's really about it at this point. So we're shooting for mid-November. I don't have an exact date yet, but you guys will definitely hear an announcement when we do have a date. So getting into it, a real quick review of what original QBack was. It ended up in the end, we ended up having 3 widths at 16, 18, and 20 wide, and only 16, 18, and 22 tall. You're going to be 3 to 4 inches taller than that once you get on the back, on the center spine itself. So your 22 really sits at about 26 tall, right? And you only have your 3 support contours, so 2.5, 4, and 6 inches deep. On QBack original, it's still mounted to your center spine, but this time you have to pull your mounting tabs off of there and bolt it directly to it. So it required bolts. There was no loss of seat depth, and compared to when you take a 1620 and a 1620, it's 15 pounds lighter than a True Comfort backrest at 16 wide and 20 tall. So it was significantly lighter. So if somebody is dealing with getting in and out of a vehicle, and their vehicle lift is pretty limited on weight capacity, this was an easy option to shave 15 pounds right off the bat, right? The mounting holes were pre-drilled, they're through holes, and you did have lateral hardware availability for active contours only. You had a 2.5 inches deep, a 4-inch deep, but then your 6-inch deep was essentially your 4-inch deep with some lateral wings bolted to the front edge. QBack 2 is going to have a total so far of 264 different configurations. So custom dimensions will be possible through Stealth, and like I said, 264 different configurations as a standard. So as AL and AFT, the difference between the two, aluminum series has a curved top. It's going to have a pretty generic contour that's going to increase your spinal support, but it'll also bring you some scapular relief. So it'll allow that scapula to be more mobile and arms and shoulders to have some mobility there. Where AFT has no scapular relief. So AL is the side on the left, AFT is the one on the right. You have no scapular relief, so it's really going to be locking your shoulders in, essentially, your scapula. And AFT does have some slots drilled through to mount some anterior trunk supports. So, let's see here, out of the way. So if you see right here, there's some slots just below that fabric. Those slots will allow you to either weave in or bolt in trunk supports, and you have a corresponding mounting hole down on the bottom side as well for, let's say you do a postural support. You can bolt that in pretty easily where you would have to drill on your aluminum series, and it doesn't fall very well on that as well. So those postural supports, again, they're just going to help increase the effectiveness. They're going to the AFT at this point in time, the AFT is going to be available only through Stealth. Right now, Quantum has made the decision to only carry the AL series at this point in time. Subject to change. Still a discussion that's up for debate at this moment, but that's what it's looking like right now. So to better accommodate all the needs that we've seen with QBack original, we've expanded our line a little bit. So you do have 5 heights in the AL series. So the top row here is your AL, anywhere from a 14 tall up to 22 tall. So notice the contour does start to change. The shorter you get, the flatter it starts to look, right? So at 22 tall, again, you're going to be sitting 3 to 4 inches off of your seat pan. So typically your 22-inch back shell is actually going to fall at about 26 inches high up here from your seat pan. Same with your AFT. You're going to have 4 heights this time. We didn't go with the medium 14-inch tall here because by the time you're at 14 inches tall, there's almost no change between a flat top. So 16, 18, 20, and 22 tall on your AFTs. So your back contours get expanded here. So everything starts as an active contour. Every single backrest you get is going to be an active contour base, which is 2.5 inches deep. So the contour itself, previously on QBack, we had a large flat spot in the center and then a 45-degree bend on the far edge. We had a lot of complaints with that, so what we did was match the contours and shapes of our standard ADI line. So we now have that flat spot that's a little shorter, a little more narrow, I should say, and then 2 different bends to get up to a 45-degree. And that shape has been something out in the market that people have accepted for years now and like. So it is a lot more comfortable and a lot more supportive, but everything does start as this active contour here. Then you get your deep is going to be 4 inches deep. You're going to have a 4-inch lateral, and this is going to come under its own cover, and we'll dive into this in just a minute. You're going to have a 4-inch lateral version. It's going to have a different set of 4-inch lateral, but it's also going to have each lateral is going to have a separate pad and cover. And then you have your 6-inch lateral, and in total that is a 6-inch deep back. So what is the difference between those lateral contours? So on your deep contours, you've got 2 versions that are 4 inches deep, right? So that's a little confusing. Why would we do that? Well, you've got deep contour, and that's going to use a lateral, which you see right over here. Sorry for the dark picture here. It's going to be under one solid piece of foam, so it's really going to extend that contour and offer some support and coverage there. You're a little more limited on its placement just due to the fact that one solid piece of foam and cover is used for the entire backrest, right? It's going to be placed under a little flap and be tucked away that way, where the 4 and the 6-inch laterals will use their own wing and wing and pad and cover all to itself. So your center section of your backrest keeps one piece of foam, and the lateral pads themselves have their own separate piece of foam. So these can be all be offset from each other. They're not dependent on left and right, so you can offset them. You can swap left and right here on your 4 or 6-inch lateral version to make it a little bit higher or lower. And they also come with a little bit of a slot in them, so you can change the angle on this version as well, where this angle is not adjustable on your deep contour version. So your 4-inch deep contour is going to use this guy right here, your top one. Both sides are exactly the same, left and right. So if you flip it over, it makes your left or your right. So it's just going to extend that contour. It's less adjustable. You just have one through hole, and that's how you mount it. Where your 4 and your 6-inch deeps are not symmetrical. So again, you flip it over to make it higher or lower, and then you have that little slot right there to mount in, and that'll help you adjust your angle to match the contour of the person, right? So both of these can be mounted to the front or the back of the shell, whatever you guys need there to make it more comfortable for that person. And they're both independently height adjustable from each other. The adjustment's pretty simple. You're just going to use a 4 millimeter, loosen it, slide it up and down where you need to, lock it in, right? In this case, with this one would be the 6-inch lateral version. You got those 2 slots here, so if I wanted to change the angle of that pad, I could do that as well. QBack 2 mounts slightly different than QBack 1. So QBack 2 is going to mount to that keyhole system that the True Comfort backrests use. So now there's no more tools required, anything like that. You drop it in, lock it down, put your thumb screw in. So you still don't have any shear reduction, or you don't have any seat depth loss, so it doesn't mess with your shear reduction or anything like that either. So line it up, drop it on, put your thumb screw in if you want it. Headrest mounting has been changed. So one of the problems identified outside of the contour with original QBack was the headrest mounts. So the cover always interfered with the headrest hardware. The hole for the headrest mount was really low, so it always interfered with the center spine and the shear reduction plate. And it was just hard to get to that wing nut. So we've made some changes there. So your headrest holes have been moved up higher, and you have anywhere from 2 to 4 pairs of holes as well. So the shorter the back, the less holes you have. So on your standard height, you've got 4 or 2 pairs. So you only have you have 2 places you can mount it, or actually 3 places you can mount it, depending on how you mount your hardware, up to your extra tall, where you have 5 different holes, or sorry, 4 different pairs of holes. So you have up to 5 places to mount it. The cover has been redesigned. As you see here, we've got a piece of the honeycomb material that keeps it a lot flatter, and it keeps the hardware from interfering with the cover or the cover with the hardware, however you want to look at it. SBM 300 is still going to be the standard headrest mount for this, but this whole spacing, whole pattern works for any seat back mount from Stealth. The cover has been changed a little bit. I don't know if you guys have noticed. I'll come back here a little bit. We've got this air mesh backpack strap essentially on the back side, right? So that's part of the redesign here. Come back here. You can kind of see it here, but again, dark picture, I apologize. I thought it would turn out a little better here. But those straps kind of hold the back cover in place. We've done Velcro loop as the backing material, but standard at this point in time, we're going to run without having any Velcro on this backrest. So that's part of the reason for those straps around the backside. It cleans it up, keeps that backrest foam from moving around too much, and you don't need Velcro on it. We did do the Velcro just in case you decide that customer moves too much, they're pushing that foam around, you needed to lock it in a little better, you still have that option. We do have privacy flap zippers on the bottom side of all of our covers already sewn in there. So if that is an option they need or request, it's already built into the cover. We don't have to do a special cover. Material wise, the foam has been upgraded. So previously on QBack 1, we used the same foam from ADI, which was an open cell with a small high density backing. Now we're going to be using a 1¼ inch medium soft sun-made FRG. So there's no high density backing anymore. This is a visco foam. Hopefully you guys are all familiar with from our cushion line. So temperature wise, it's a lot less reactive than normal visco foam is. It doesn't really degrade as often or as quickly, and humidity doesn't start breaking that foam down like it did in the just standard sun-made stuff. It's got all natural fire retardants in there, no additives, so we've passed a lot of flammability testing and everything off the bat already. And you're about 33 to 36% natural plant-based ingredients depending on the densities. Other good thing is it inhibits liquid penetration, so it doesn't absorb it nearly as fast as standard foams do. So when you couple that with your pull core material that absorbs and transports moisture away, hopefully they stay nice and dry with this back. So part number wise is they're long part numbers, but they're pretty straightforward. So everything is going to start with QB2, just to kind of make sure we all know it's a QBack 2. Then you pick your series, AL or AFT. You pick your width. You've got anywhere from 14 to 22. You pick your contour, active, deep, 4 for 4-inch lateral, or 6 for 6-inch lateral. And then you pick your height, medium, standard, tall, extra tall, or extra, extra tall. And from there, that's where we get all our part numbers, right? So 264 of them. Like I said, pretty straightforward, but we're not requiring you guys to memorize these part numbers just yet. So don't worry about that. Just tell us what series you want, your width and your height, and we'll help you out with that. Pricing wise, we're going to try and match match the best we can the price points from original QBack. 4- and 6-inch laterals didn't exist, so we didn't have anything to match, but $525 for an active, $595 for deep, and $650 for either two of the lateral versions. But that's it on QBack 2. We tried to make it more comfortable, easier to use for anybody dealing with it, providing it, servicing it, sitting in it, things like that. So we tried to address every issue you guys bring up with it. And to the point where when we come back here to our laterals, let's come back a little bit farther. When we're looking at the lateral covers, they have actually even changed this. I got these pictures last week, and they've changed this cover design up to last week. So these pictures aren't even good anymore. So the cover design, they changed it to make sure this cover stays in place. That'll actually wrap around a little bit more now. So there's still some finer tuning things we're doing it, some minor tweaks and changes to make it more usable, more user-friendly, and less prone to issues on the road or down the road. So hopefully this will be a good back for you guys. We're looking to get it out soon. Like I said, I don't have a date just yet. We're looking at mid-November, but we'll definitely make sure you hear about it. Make sure you get a date when we have one. But other than that, that's all I've got for you on QBack 2. Take it easy out there, guys.
Thanks, Ryan. Take care.